Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. And there it is, another country that inserts itself in the Ukraine war equation, and that is South Korea. And again, the Russians will adjust. And how they will adjust? They will do what they do best. They will hit the South Koreans where it hurts the most, which is North Korea. So what happened? The South Korea, I think, under the US pressure, decided to be open to, as they say it, provide military aid / arming. I mean, let's stop using euphemisms, as they provide aid, like military aid, like medicine. No, that is weapons to kill. So South Korea said that they will probably give Ukraine weapons. In response, Mr. Medvedev, the former president of the Russian Federation, said, well, if you do that, then we will supply weapons to guess who? The woodchuck, North Korea. Okay? Well, people might say, you don't have any weapons anyway. Well, they have satellites. And believe me, they have a lot of things that they can help and cooperate with the North Koreans. So let's start with this first article coming from, I'm starting it from coming from the good countries and then changing into the bad countries. So this comes from Reuters. And it says, exclusive, just for us. South Korea's Yoon opens door for possible military aid to Ukraine. That means weapons, arming them, giving them military grade weapons, okay? Not like toys. All right, well, you can do that, but you inserted yourself in the equation. So there will be consequences, it seems like. South Korea might extend its support for Ukraine beyond humanitarian and economic aid if it comes under a large-scale civilian attack. President Yoon Suk-yeol said, signaling a shift in his stance against arming Ukraine for the first time. Well, what's a large-scale civilian attack? That's always relative to whatever President Yoon Suk-yeol will consider. Now, there could be 100 people, could be 3 people, could be, 1 million people. I don't know. It's up to him. Anyway, this is a shift. In an interview with Reuters ahead of his state visit to his masters, to US, next week, Yoon said his government has been exploring how to help defend and rebuild Ukraine. Why? Alright, just because they have a big heart. Just as South Korea received international assistance during the 1950-1953 Korean War. Do you remember how that started? Do you remember what was the convention? Do you remember how they got to the little parallel that they were supposed to stop and decide? Do you remember that? Well, if you remember, again, it was the, how do you call those? Peace promoters, global peace promoters, who really said, you know what? You don't need to do this. Until the Chinese came from the other directions, they were kind of like taking over Red Rover, if you remember that one. But hey, let's move back here. They tried to, they received assistance, international assistance. Well, the other ones received international assistance as well because they were foreign countries, weren't there? But anyway, here in this one, they just try to build legitimacy. Like, see, we've been victims, so we know how it is to be a victim. You don't know, because you've never been a victim. So we will do it in the name of victimhood. And I'm quoting, again, that is South Korea's own decision. They can do whatever they want. But the problem is, I don't think they do whatever they want. That's the problem here. Anyway, and I'm quoting, if there is a situation the international community cannot condone, such as any large-scale attack on civilians, massacre or serious violation of the laws of war, it might be difficult for us to insist only on humanitarian or financial support, end quote, Yoon said. All right, well, that's good. I'm pretty sure that you condemned the napalm attacks of the American army in your friends over there in Vietnam, did you? South Korea? And if you didn't, you still have time right now to condemn that, because that falls exactly under this right here. Exactly. And I'm pretty sure you helped North Vietnam in their struggle against the big, where is that? The big country, right, that attacks all these civilians, right? Yeah, that's why I love justice, selective justice coming from the free world. It was the first time that Seoul suggested a willingness to provide weapons to Ukraine more than a year after ruling out the possibility of lethal aid. And as these guys here say, well, I changed my mind. Okay, well, good for you. Now, let's go to the other article coming from Ukrainska Pravda. So we move from the truth tellers, which is Reuters. We move to the other truth tellers, Ukrainska Pravda. Medvedev, this guy right here, threatens Russia will arm North Korea if South Korea supplies arms to Ukraine. So you see how they say here, Russia will arm North Korea if South Korea just supplies arms. You could have said if South Korea arms Ukraine. No. Supplies arms. And, point out here, they provide military aid. They don't arm. Only the Russians arm. Only the Russians arm. See? You gotta pick up on these little things. You would not see this in reverse. That's why I pointed out. So you would not see Ukrainska Pravda or Reuters or CNN or these guys, in general, using, we arm them because Russia provides military aid. No, this is just for us because we are mild and good-mannered and beautiful people, and they are criminals right here. They just arm, but Korea just supplies arms. Dmitry Medvedev, Deputy Secretary of the Security Council of the Russian Federation, has begun threatening. He's not threatening. He just, your actions will have consequences, and if you do this, this is going to happen. You can take it however you want, but these are the steps. For instance, in certain capacities in my life, I had to issue this warning whenever I had time. If you do this, I will have to physically protect myself and defend myself. So do not come here. I'm going to feel threatened. So this is the consequence. I'm not threatening you. I'm just going to tell you what's going to be the procedure. Or if you discuss with a person, you say, you know what? If you're going to do this, that will make I have to react in a certain way based on your actions. It's going to be my reaction. This is going to be my reaction. I'm going to do this. I have to do this. I have to do this. You take it however you want, but I'm just going to react this way. You can take it as a threat. However, I'm just letting you know these are the steps I will be forced by your actions to do. Could I take other reactions? Yes, I can. So can you. So, you know what I mean? I don't tell you what to do. Don't tell me what to do in reaction to your, perceived by me, obviously. And I think I'm entitled to do that because it's my entity here. That's going to be aggressed or whatever happens. So here, Medvedev is threatening threatening something that he's getting threatened by. So he's threatened by South Korea that they will give Ukrainians weapons, they will arm Ukraine, then Ukraine will kill Russians. So he's directly threatened by South Korea's action. So then he tells South Korea that yes, if you do that, I will arm your enemy. And see how you like it. You arm my enemy, I will arm your enemy. It's just, I equal your bullshit. Okay, well, you don't like it? Well then. Who stepped in first? You. Well, you did this with Ukraine. Well, you did with North Korea. I mean, you do this with China. Are you going to help United States in United States' scuffle for Taipei, for Taiwan? No? Yes, you will. So you inserted yourself again in something that, well, it's the area, it's my neighborhood. Well, if it's your neighborhood, what is the United States doing in your neighborhood? Helping you? Yes. Okay, see, you can play weasel, but, the fact is you inserted yourself and you pick and choose I can insert myself here, but you can't insert yourself here. Why? because we're good and you're bad. Always goes to that little thing. So let's go back to these weasels. So, Medvedev, Secretary of the Federation, has begun threatening that the aggressor country would supply Russian weapons to the Democratic People's Republic of Korea if South Korea provided weapons to Ukraine. Well, this is what's going to happen, my friends. You know what I mean? If you insert yourself over there, I'm going to insert myself here. And you like it or you don't like it. I didn't cast or threw the first, I didn't throw the first stone. You did. And if I threw something, it had nothing to do with you. You inserted yourself, like the European Union inserted itself with its, how do you call those, sanctions that now, and they backfire from the very beginning. Well, Medvedev was outraged that South Korea seemed to assure that it would not supply weapons to Ukraine and now has changed his mind. Well, isn't that exactly what this article said right here? At the end? Right here, it was the first time that Seoul suggested a willingness to provide weapons to Ukraine more than a year after ruling out the possibility of this. Isn't that a change of mind? Hey, truth tellers, yeah, they changed their mind. And I am quoting, "I wonder what the inhabitants of this country will say when they see the latest samples of Russian weapons from their closest neighbors, our partners from the DPRK," Medvedev threatened. Okay, well, so be it. And we're gonna go to the last article, which comes from, if they let me open it, which they did before. But hey, this is it. I'm gonna come back after I figure out what these guys want to do here. And of course, as soon as I stopped, they allowed me. So Russia today. Russia could arm straight. This is not like we'll supply military aid. No, they will arm North Korea if South Korea sends weapons to Ukraine. That's it. The former president responds to Seoul's suggestion that it could send lethal aid to Kiev. That means weapons that would kill Russians. So anyway, and I'm quoting, if there is a situation the international community cannot condone, such as any large-scale attack on civilians, massacre, or serious violations of the laws of war, it might be difficult for us to insist only on humanitarian or financial support. I understand this guy. It's not like, he's unreasonable. But, as again, actions have consequences. And this thing with large-scale attack on civilians usually doesn't go only one way. But I wonder if he finds out, Mr. Yoon, that let's say the Ukrainians, let's say Ukrainians killed civilians in large scale. Let's say since 2014 to 2022, did they do the same thing? Did they arm the separatists from Donbass for that? They said they killed about 10,000, between 10,000 and 15,000 Russian-speaking population in eastern Ukraine since 2014 to 2022. Did Korea took this into consideration or no? Or what if they find out, let's say, that the Ukrainians are blowing up some Russian civilians? Would they provide then the Russians with military support, or it goes only one way? It's just a question. Considering our relationship with the parties engaged in the war and developments in the battlefield, we will take the most appropriate measures, he added. Okay. So this is the little threat that comes from the evil Russians, because the good country of South Korea decided to insert itself because it has a big heart. But as of now, they have, they used to have about 30,000, they used to, I think now it's 15,000 occupation troops on its border, threatening their neighbor. I don't remember North Korea having Russians or Chinese military on their territory threatening these guys south, but these guys have foreigners on their territory, masked at the border. So who's threatening whom over there? If you really want to tell the truth. I mean, yeah, you can say this, you can say that. What did I say that is not true? Are there American military in Korea? Yes. Are there thousands? Yes. Do they have weapons? Yes. Why are they there? For North Korea. Does North Korea have foreign military over there? No. So what? Who's threatening what? So now let's say if you would have that, the Russians should be allowed to come over there and let's say put their military over there, threatening. Imagine, let's say that Woodchuck in North Korea would somehow, which he wouldn't, say, okay, I want about 30,000 Russians and 30,000 Chinese, or whatever, maybe some Germans too, on my territory, so I can, just make sure that South Korea will not attack me. What do you think that move would be perceived as? Would be perceived as a peacekeeping force of the United States is perceived, or going to be a massive escalation and all that? I think you know exactly how that would be portrayed in the free mass media. Why? Because that's not fair. If someone rapes, if your uncle or your relative rapes someone, but and you don't punish because he's your uncle or whomever, but you punish an unknown person, that you're not just. You're not just. You pick and choose. Your justice preferential. Oh, I know this guy. I'm not gonna call his crime what it is, but I don't know this guy. I really don't like him. I'm gonna call it the way it is. Well, you be the judge. But in order to be the judge, as I always say, stay strong, have the courage to look at reality and facts. Stay strong, stay smart, open your mind. All right. Look for the truth with all these arms, looking from different angles and having the courage to accept reality and whatever you find, and then be just. With all this analysis, you say, okay, you know what? I think this is it. What are you going to do about it? Because you're just sitting somewhere and saying, oh, you know what? Yeah, you're right. You're the criminal. Yeah, that's the first step or the third step, let's put it. And the fourth one would be, what are you going to do? Is it going to be punished? Are you going to help? Distribute justice, or that's different departments, if it's a different departments, that's fine, but you want to see justice applied. I hope it's not enough just to point out, hey, that's a rape occurring right now over there in the street. That's not enough to say, yeah, that's a crime. Okay, you realized, you saw it. The next one is to either call the authorities or to intervene. The order, it doesn't have to be that one. Okay, you can't just say over there, oh yeah, I understand. Yes, I think it's just that that guy should be arrested. Yes. What was I doing? Oh, let's see. Oh, they're still there. Okay. Now you're not a just person. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.